Friends, hello. Today what I'm doing is a video on all of the decks I didn't use once in 2024. Let me tell you, there are some shockers on this list. Things that I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I didn't use because they are self-proclaimed favorites. And I didn't use them once this year. And I'm actually shocked. I'm shocked that I didn't use a couple of these decks even once in 2024. And I said previously on my top 2024 decks, I do keep meticulous stats on the decks that I use, as well as the cards I pull. More on that in a few weeks, but that's how I know. I write down everything on an Excel spreadsheet. I put a little tick every time I use a deck. So I know my numbers are accurate, friends. Sadly, they are. What does this mean for these decks? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Does it mean I'm getting rid of them? No. Does it mean I don't like them? No. It just means for whatever reason, I did not get around to using them in 2024. So first things first, it's not here. It's not in front of me. I keep it at my desk downstairs. Not a surprise to me. The Plaid back RWS. I did not read with that deck this year. I typically don't read with that deck. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. Don't love the color scheme. Don't love the line work. Not a favorite. There are so many other decks that I would much rather work with. So right off the hop, that is one that I did not use once in 2024. Out of the way. I don't even know. I have a whole stack everywhere. Don't know where to begin. Okay. So we've got this one, Tarot of Marseille 2020 edition. This was gifted to me, handed down to me. And I took it because I wanted to have a Marseille deck in my collection. I don't. Marseille, I always say Marseille. Sorry, it's Marseille. If I say Marseille, I mean Marseille. So I just wanted to have one in my collection. I don't have one. I feel like it's probably one of those decks that everyone should have. Same with the Thoth tarot deck. I don't really typically read with it, but I have it. I think it's, you know, something down the line, maybe I will bust out. Maybe I will take an interest in down the line. And if and when I do that, I have a deck to do that with. Marseille, however I'm saying it in this particular minute, this deck did not get used at all in 2024. Also, not a surprise to me. Again, does it mean I'm getting rid of it? No, not at all. I'm really trying to be kind to myself with these decks, with this list, the decks that have made this list. Oh, see, like these tuck boxes, man, come on. Not sure how to get that in there. I'm really trying to be kind to myself with the decks on this list, because I think it's one of those things you could easily spiral and be upset with yourself and why do I have so many when these are the ones I didn't even use, blah, blah, blah. That being said, some of them are going on a purgatory list. This is one of them, the Gilded Tarot Royale by Ciro Marchetti. I had a hot little love affair with this deck when I first bought it. Was obsessed with it. Okay, so not all of them came out of the box, but we're not too concerned. I really enjoyed this deck. It was so bright and so colorful, and I loved the zodiacal influences in here. See, even when I look at it, I do enjoy it. But I never used it, not once this year. And it's kind of been in a mental purgatory in the sense that I've kind of known that I was probably going to be rehoming this deck. And I never used it. So I think I will be rehoming it, even though the more I look at it, the more every card I flip, I'm like, oh, I really like that. Oh, I really like that. And it didn't get used, and I never wanted to use it. I never felt the desire to use it. I'm not sure it even crossed my mind really at all in 2024. So this is one that's probably going to go in purgatory. I do not like the wands. What are those? Is that something that I'm just not familiar with? What is that? What form of scepter do we have there? Reminds me of a piercing. Can't get over it. I just can't get past it. But the colors are fun. It is a fun deck. It's one of those great shuffleable Llewellyns. But like I said, probably going in purgatory. There's quite a few cards that are stuck. Oh, one. Just one. Weird. Feels like it should be so many more. Anyway, Tarot Mercati, Gilded Tarot Royale, probably getting rehomed. I wonder if we should stick to the ones that didn't surprise me. Okay, well, let's do this one. I keep it in this Goddess Provisions magnetic box. Really handy. Really like that. Oh, quite magnetic. Ask and you shall receive. And in here, I keep my Tarot Vampires. Not a surprise to me. I edged mine. I couldn't decide what color I wanted to edge it, so I did both black and red. Kind of like it. Kind of like how that turned out. Not a surprise to me. I think I get in my head too much about this deck. I think I overanalyze it. I think I put too much thought into it, and that's why I don't use it. I feel a little overwhelmed when I go to use this deck. I don't know. I'm going to keep it. This is not one that I'm ever getting rid of. I hope that one day it works for me, because I do like it. It's super fun. I love it. And there's so many people that love it, and I want to love it as well in that sense, in the sense of reading with it. But right now I just cannot get there with reading with it. I love the images. I love like the early 2000s vibe it gives, I should say. But I just can't read with it. Not yet. Hopefully one day we'll get there. So it did not get used at all in 2024. Not a shocker. Let's do another one that's not a shocker, because I talked about it in the, I think it was the Twilight Tarot tag. This might hurt. I have the indie edition. When this deck came out, or when I first got it, I was all about this deck. Used it so much. Love the backs. Fantastic backs. I got the rainbow gilded. You could have got like a darker one that looks kind of like labradorite. We are upside down. I just don't... The cartoon vibes on here are what gets me. Very childlike cartoons. I don't feel called to use it. Also, not getting rid of it, because I do think this is one that I will for sure use in the future. Probably more so with other people, reading for other people. If you're new here, I do not do professional tarot readings. I don't charge for tarot readings. It's more for funsies with my friends. So I do think that this is the relatable deck when it comes to reading for other people. People who aren't familiar with the tarot. I think this is a fun tarot deck. And I think it stings less than maybe some imagery, which is funny given its name. But as I said in my previous video talking about this deck, which I'm pretty sure was the Twilight Tarot tag, I love a gradient. I am a sucker for gradient artwork. Love it. Gradient photography, bring it. Give it all to me. So I think that's another reason why I feel drawn to this deck, but just the cartoon imagery, the childlike facial expressions. I think that's what gets me here, but not getting rid of it. It'll get used one day. I'll come back to you, or even just with friends. So that one I knew. That one did not surprise me because I talked about it in a previous video. Okay, let's do one that did surprise me. It's an oracle. First oracle on the list, the Prism Oracle. If you can hear that, that's my chair, I promise. Prism Oracle. This deck is so useful. I love it. What I do with it, let's get rid of the book. What I do with it, I hate the backs, gotta say, hate the backs. I gotta say, I don't think the edges match the deck either, but whatever. What I do with this deck, I pull a card. And okay, pain. What do I need to know about pain? Wow, we are matchy-matchy. Fantastic. And then I will pull tarot cards about that. So great. What am I feeling right now? Frustration. How can I alleviate that feeling? Or how can I embrace the feeling of illumination, depending on what card you pull? I think this is a great deck. Why haven't I used it this year? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Absolutely could not tell you why I have not used this deck. I am not getting rid of this deck. This deck almost made my revised only 10 decks list, but it got bumped by something else. I can't remember what it was bumped by, which this would have been super embarrassing if it was on that list because I haven't used it at all in 2024. But I love it. It's very handy, very useful. I do think it's hard for it to match certain decks because it is so colorful. So it's tricky to get it to match certain decks. And I think that's part of my problem with it. That's part of why I haven't used it this year. Then again, I'm not really, if they don't match aesthetically, it's not like I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know. Guys, I don't know what my problem was. I don't know why I didn't use this deck this year. It's a great little deck. Also, not getting rid of it at all. But it was a surprise. It was quite the surprise that I did not use that deck this year. Especially because I do think I used it so much last year for that purpose. I found two more that I didn't use that were buried. So I don't know at what point I'm going to splice this part in, but there's two more. The Green Witch Oracle. This one, I found that it worked really well with the Ritual Tarot. And for that reason, I'm not getting rid of it because I loved how those two decks work together. This year was very tarot heavy and not so much oracle. So the oracle that I did use when I used an oracle with the Ritual Tarot was the Language of Flowers, the little rock pool one. This one, if you would have asked me, I would have bet money that I used the Ritual Tarot with this oracle deck this year, but apparently that was last year because I haven't used this deck at all this year. So this one is being kept for the purpose of the Ritual Tarot because they do go so well. You could probably also use this with the Memento Mori Oracle. If you use oracles together, probably try that on for size. But yeah, I don't have any plans to get rid of this at the moment, mainly because I was so stunned with how well it worked with the Ritual Tarot. Never would have paired those together, ever. But they did great. And the next one is a tarot deck. We have Game of Thrones Tarot. I think that these novelty decks, I think they're fun to own. They're fun to say you have a Game of Thrones tarot or a Friends tarot or whatever it might be. But when it comes down to actually reading with them, I think it is not so practical. I think they're fun. I think you have to be in the right mood for it. I think it has to be the right question, the right query. I got very lucky with this deck because I have the linen version. This was a, also matchy. This was a Facebook Marketplace find for $10 I paid for this deck. Oh, Game of Thrones. This is another very well done pop culture tarot deck. Very well done. Does it surprise me I didn't use this year? No. Like in the sense that I know I didn't use it. I know I didn't use it. And it's kind of been weighing on me a little bit because I do really like the deck. I really like the show. It's one of those ones where if I want something on in the background, I can toss on an episode of this. Same with Friends, same with other pop culture decks in this video. I don't know where I'm splicing this in, so I'm not giving anything away. But yeah, I can throw it on and I can fully watch the episode like it's my first time watching it, or I can have it on as background noise. We're not going to get into the ending. We're not going to talk about that. But I'm super glad I have this deck. I'm super glad I got the linen finish because I've heard that its predecessor is not that great cardstock wise. But I didn't use it this year. This is a great deck for fall. The colors are very fall aesthetic to me. It's making me want to watch it. Going through all this is making me want to watch the show. Which to me is a sign of a good pop culture deck. Oh, why can't I remember this scene? Yeah, see, I gotta watch it. Oh, well done. Very well done. Oh, damn, I need to use this deck. And you know what? These videos are good for that too. It makes you go through them and it makes you think, okay, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I missed this deck. I like this deck. I want to use this deck. Oh, this is another one. You know what? Let's start off 2025 with this one. I don't think I have space to use another deck for the remaining few days of 2024, but we'll start off 2025 with this one. See how it reads. Because I'm not sure I could tell you how it reads right now for me. Yeah. You know what? We're going to watch a few episodes of this, and then we're going to ring in 2025 with this lovely pop culture deck. So yeah, maybe I love owning pop culture decks. I really do. But maybe they're more of a collector's item than a reading item for me. I haven't really read too much. I think I did when I first bought it, but I heard the book is phenomenal with this deck. So we'll give that a go for 2025. What do we have next? We have 2.5 oracles and, okay, we've got some tarots. Let's do some tarots. Not a surprise to me, the Robin Wood Tarot. I had this deck listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace, Garage Sale, something like that. And there was just no takers. So I took it down. It like practically looks brand new. This deck was purchased as a learning deck. I really struggled with the RWS tarot deck, so I went with this one instead. Now I use the, can't remember, the gold one. It'll come to me, which I would have just purchased that one had I known it existed at the time. But this one was my, I need something other than the plaid back RWS. That man is attractive. So that's where this deck came from. More specifically because the, oh, this is in order. Are we in order? We totally are. So, no, we're not. The colors of the backgrounds of the suits, especially in the courts, they really relate to the suit themselves. Oh, nope, that's Judgment. It's making liars out of me. Green, Pentacles. But it's the same as the RWS, just different. And I needed that. I really like that for the 7 of Pentacles. See, this makes me want to use it. I'm not getting rid of this one. This one's not... I think it's going out of print or did go out of print, perhaps. I don't know. But I still... Here we go. There's a good example. Good example. Good example. So we're partially in order. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I probably will use it. This might be one of those ones that I keep like at my desk or something. My desk at work, perhaps. Who knows? Not getting rid of it. But it did not get used this year, and that is no surprise to me. A Lenormand deck that I did talk about in an earlier video this year that I never touched. The Celtic Lenormand. I think I talked about it in like a spring... Oh, no cutouts. A spring video. Do I keep... There are extra cards, but I thought I kept them underneath, but I don't. You can see they're backwards here. Let's keep the book out. Let's take these extra cards out. So these are the backs. I love that it comes with so many extra cards. I'm a sucker for extra cards, even though I like never use them. I have about 4 Lenormand decks. All of them got used but this one. This is a great spring deck. The guidebook is why I bought this deck, which I'll show in a second. But the other Lenormand decks I own were the ones that got used. I wanted to use this one. I had every intention of using it, especially when discussing decks for spring. It just never happened. Sometimes it happens, folks. I went with the other Lenormand decks this year. Lenormand wasn't high on my list of priorities as far as decks go, period. Last year was more of a very Lenormand year for me. This year, not so much. I can probably count on one hand the number of Lenormand cards I pulled this year. Maybe 2 hands. So this wasn't it. This was not it. But the guidebook, the reason I bought it, look at how beefy that is for a Lenormand deck. So we've got keywords, nouns, descriptors, verbs, person, playing card association, description, meaning, spiritual reading, dark and light, spell use, timing, affirmation, deities. That is so much information. I want to work with this deck more. I want to read the guidebook. I want to work with the deck. Not getting rid of it. We're going to do something. Hopefully 2025 will be the year that I really feel called to actually work with it. Because that is so amazing. So amazing. But it never got used in 2024. Oopsie. Okay. All right, let's do these next 2 oracles. So we have a little rock pool guy, Divine Doors. This one I purchased for reading with friends, reading for friends. Which way is up and which way is down? I love these. They have different backs on all of them, and then the message is on the front. Is that called the front? Love it. This is great for pick a card readings, because what I do is I have all the other cards underneath, like they're reading underneath, and I put one of these on each reading pile. And I'm like, okay, if you know what pile you're picking, fantastic. If not, pick a door. Whatever door is called to you. I didn't invent this method by far. Lots of people do it. But I really like that. I really like pick a door. And then you read the message on the back. Morning memory. Its healing gift runs a destined course. The morning dawn, our inspired source. Meditate under the sun. Love it. So that's why I bought this deck. And I just didn't use it at all this year for other people or for myself. Not getting rid of it. Love it. Super cute. Some of them say pass this along, and I don't know, like, are you supposed to physically pass the card on? I can't do that. Yeah, pass this card on. I'm not giving that away. Pass this card on. There's so many. Pass this card on. Your deck would be minuscule. I don't understand. Do you guys pass? Do you actually do that? Let me know. So that's one. Not getting rid of it. Next. Another rock pool. We have Sea Melodies. This one I purchased specifically to go with the Llewellyn Mermaid Tarot. And I just have not, didn't work with it this year. Not for any particular reason. I did use the Mermaid Tarot. It's a good one. One I like a lot. I don't know. I just didn't use this one to go with it. Not getting rid of it. These don't take up a lot of space. They're super easy to store. And I do like the words and the messages on them. I feel like even this one, you could pull it. What do I need to know about generosity? What good is treasure if you keep it for yourself? What does that message mean to me? And then pull some tarot cards. I do have the Language of Flowers, the little rock pool one. It got used quite a bit this year. It works with a few decks that I have, and I think that's why it got used, whereas this one only really works with one. So, also not getting rid of that. Like I said, they're easy to store. So, they stay. Okay, the last two. Both of these were stunners. Stunned that I didn't use either of these two decks. This one, not as much as the next one, but this one. The Friends Tarot. I searched high and low for this deck. I do believe it's out of print. Comes with that card, that's it. No guidebook, no nothing. Perfect. I think it's out of print because of the lengths that I had to go to find it. I had to order it from like an Urban Outfitters website. I got it in a gift set that came with a hardcover fan book with the same artist. Didn't want the book, just wanted the deck. Why didn't I use this year? I don't know. It's super fun, super cute, super nostalgic. I just did not feel called to use this deck one time in 2024. This is one that I think about often. It's not that I don't remember that I have it or don't care for it. I'm like, oh yeah, I have the Friends Tarot. This is staying around. I'm keeping this deck forever. This is definitely a novelty deck that I want to have years from now. Classic show. Why I didn't use it this year, I got nothing for you. Don't know, but it's staying. I think it's probably one of those things that I don't think I could do a serious reading with this deck. I do not think I could, you know, if I'm going through a hard time, if I'm struggling with something, I don't think I'm going to go to this deck and be like, guide me. This is fun. This is another good one if you're reading for friends. This is another great one for reading for friends. I love it. They love it. Everyone loves it. And it also helps when you're reading for other people with a deck like this. If they're very familiar with the show or the movie, depending on what deck you have there, it can give them an idea of what the card means. Okay, these next ones are not good examples. It can give you a good idea of what the card means if you remember the scene. A lot of these aren't like, that never happened. Okay, here we go. That's a good example. That's one that I remember anyway. So if you can remember that scene, and as someone who doesn't know tarot, that might be easier for you to understand what the tarot reader is trying to say. Fun deck. Like I said, I had a hard time getting my hands on it. When I finally did, I was so happy. And now I've hardly used it at all. That's how the cookie crumbles. But it is one that I'm keeping. It is one that I am sure will get used. It just has to be the right time or place. Last. This one, I was like, I must have been wrong with my stats. There's no way I didn't use this deck in 2024. But apparently I did not. The Unofficial Shitty Tarot. This is a favorite. And I think it falls along the same lines as the Friends Tarot in the sense that I'm not going to use this deck for a serious reading. Okay, there are extra things. Take out the extra things. These are the backs. Best wishes, warmest regards. Best wishes, warmest regards. Handcrafted with care. Okay. Very cool. We have rose gilded edges. It's not called gilded. Rose foil edges. Not sure what it's called. I don't care for the rose edges. I understand why they did it. Don't care. Oh, this deck is so good. They did such a good job on this deck. And it makes me so happy when I look at the images. Great show. Obviously, it's about Schitt's Creek. Fold in the cheese with the 3 of Pentacles. Maybe just ask for help. Bring in a third person. Oh, why haven't I used this? This is another great one to use with friends as well, especially if they're fans of the show, obviously. Oh my gosh. Even just looking at it now, you can probably hear that I'm smiling because I'm instantly brought back to these scenes. they did such a good job. I always struggle telling people where to find this because it's changed a couple of times since I bought it. Oh my gosh, that episode made me feel sick because you understand the jealousy and how things get out of control sometimes. Fantastic deck. Stunned that I didn't use it in 2024. I have no explanation for you because I love it. You know what? This would be a good deck with the Prism Oracle, I think. Pulling one from the Prism Oracle and then using this deck to kind of elaborate. I think that's a good one. I almost just dropped all the decks. Fantastic deck. I could sit here and just go through all of these on camera. I've gushed about this deck so much in the past, in previous videos, which is why it's stunning to me that I didn't use it in 2024. I don't even think I used it to read with friends in 2024. Mind you, I did not do a lot of that in 2024. It's probably the least amount of reading with friends I've done in any year was this past year. So that kind of explains it, but you know what? We're going to use this before the end of the year is up. We got a week left, a little less than a week. We're doing it. We're using this. So scratch that. I'm using it. Using it before the year's up, okay? So good. And that concludes all the decks I did not use in 2024. Except for the Unofficial Shitty Tarot. Pretend it's not here, okay? Thank you for watching. And like I said, try not to be too hard on myself about what it means to not use decks, why I didn't use them. A couple of them, well, one for sure, can go in purgatory. There's even some decks that I did use this year that I'm probably putting in purgatory and wanting to get rid of. So that kind of does help offset things a little bit. It makes you feel a little bit better about not using certain decks because there's about 3 that I can think of off the top of my head that I want to get rid of. So anytime I can get rid of some, it makes me feel a little better, but I do feel sad that I haven't used that number of decks in 2024. I would not have said it was that high, but here we are. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.